Pattaya experiment for 8 weeks, what you need to know for 2019. So despite what you might have seen in various YouTube videos, groups of Indian guys going up to girls on Beach Road, Pattaya has not been ruined yet. If you know where to go, you can still get great services and meet great Thai girls very easily. And no, prices for services have not quadrupled as many claim. In short, Pattaya is still great. This is in stark contrast to many critics who claim the complete opposite pretty much. Namely, that Pattaya is overrun by Indians, that the prices have skyrocketed and the quality of girls and services have gone down quite a bit. In my experience, total BS. Here's the truth as I have experienced it. So let's take a step back and start at the beginning. I've just spent the last 8 weeks in Pattaya. And as I'm recording this audio, I'm sitting here in my Bangkok condo where I stay year-round. I mean, pretty much, except for the visa runs every 3 months. Overall, Pattaya is still great. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You know, the typical, Pattaya was great 10, 15 years ago, but now you shouldn't go there anymore. No, my experience, it's still great. Great girls out every night, great accommodation for as little as $10 to $15 per night. Now, as for myself, you know me, I prefer the Bangkok lifestyle combined with Pattaya weekend trip every month or so, every 3 months, maybe a flight to Phuket and stay there for a week or two. That's me, okay? That's the way I like to do things. But let's talk about the topic that most guys are interested in. The quality of in Pattaya. No man, very few men go to Pattaya for the average beaches and food options. So I'm guessing you and I are similar. We want great nightlife and, great girls. Pattaya did not disappoint me in either of those categories. One thing I have to clarify, on average, girls in Pattaya are not more attractive than anywhere else in Thailand. That's a myth in my experience. It's just that in Pattaya, there are more girls overall in the nightlife scene. So more girls overall means more attractive ones as well. If you're not too picky, you will feel overwhelmed with options. In particular, if you prefer small, innocent-looking girls. If you like girls with tattoos, again, unlimited options. If you're very picky, then I would say still great, would still go there, but keep your expectations in check. You're not going to see like dozens and dozens of girls that fit your criteria. You still have your options, just not as many. So I can tell you on a typical night out, let's say I start the night out at usually after 11 p.m., maybe midnight, and say I stay until 6 a.m. or even longer. I would usually see 4 to 7 girls who are exactly my type. Well, even upon closer inspection, I have no doubt that she's worth my time. Now, what do I mean when I say upon closer inspection? Maybe you have had a similar experience that, you see many girls that look nice initially. It might be that she's dressed nicely, high heels or whatever. And then you take a closer look and many of those girls that caught your attention, you realize, now that I'm looking at her, she's not that nice. Maybe you notice skin imperfections, maybe she just doesn't have a flat stomach, or things that you didn't notice when you were just glancing at her, walking past. And so, like I said, in the end, I'm usually left with, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 girls per night. That's just me. I've become somewhat picky, all right? What's also funny is that about half of the girls who caught my attention, usually, and the ones that I go up to and approach on walking through were girls I was talking to in lineup already, but I only realized that afterwards. So let's talk about your options if you want to meet girls. The 4 best options. Partying and going out is not very effective when it comes to meeting attractive girls. It's good for having fun and meeting girls in the process. But let's say all you care about is meeting the most attractive girls in Pattaya. What's the most effective approach? And I'm going to list 4. The first one is go-go bars. Walking Street, LK Metro. It's pretty straightforward. Go-Go bars are where you find the highest percentage of attractive girls. However, you're also paying a premium. This is the most expensive option, yet you waste no time, right? You can literally walk in, have a look at a dozen attractive girls, and be on your way back to your hotel in a matter of half an hour or less. It's true, yeah, you can also meet some of the Go-Go girls after their shift when they go to iBar, Insomnia, etc. But the selection will be more limited than in the actual Go-Go bar. Second option would be, I call it street approaches. If you're picky, beach road freelancers are not an option. You would need to walk along the entirety of beach road to come across maybe 1 to 2 nice girls at best. So, a better alternative is approaching girls and freelancers directly on walking street. Whether that be girls working in Go-Go bars on their way to work or a group of girls on the way to the nightclub. You don't just, a typical mistake that guys make is they think, is this a freelancer? Can I approach this girl? You can approach any girl on walking street, okay? The worst that's going to happen is they say, no, sorry, I don't work. I'm not a freelancer. And another story. But a lot of guys think they can only approach the ones that stand on the side of the street where it's very obvious that they're working girls. No, you can approach any girl, right? And that's what you should do. If I'm not in quote unquote party mode, this is the option that I prefer. And I know many guys who feel the same about it. They say clubs are too loud, they can't really see the girl due to lighting, etc. So how do you do this? Very simple. How are you? Where are you going? Do you work freelance? That's it. You can use any combination of these. And if the girl is free, you can go with her right away. Otherwise, oftentimes they're with friends, or even you see the girl, but you still want to be experiencing the nightlife. You don't want to go with the girl right away. You simply get her line ID and meet up later. If that seems like a lot of work, time investment, you have to stand on walking street or walk around for a few hours, then the next option is pretty much the shortcut, in my opinion, which would be the private contacts that I provide. If you see a hot girl on walking street, chances are she is included in my contacts already. But don't take my word for it, okay? You can filter by type of girl you prefer, then you add her in lineup, negotiate prices. Before you meet, you do a quick video call to verify the girl's look. And that's it. And these girls, they don't work for a bar, so you pay about 50% less than with girls, let's say, Go-Go bars. Number 4 is what I call nightclub approaches. This would include going to nightclubs on walking street, say iBar, Insomnia, Lucifer, Club 808, and approaching the girls you like. Now this is great if you want to go out anyway, but if you purely want a hot girl, then it means you'll need to spend a lot of time, sometimes hours, looking around, dealing with loud nightclubs, and not being able to clearly see what the girls look like. With this, one important thing that you need to keep in mind, the longer you wait, the more difficult it will be to find hotties. So Flex Club is packed at 6 a.m. But my experience, quality is rare. I've never found a girl there that I really liked. On the other hand, if you're like looking for 500 baht long-term deals, then that is your venue. So to sum up, here are your best options for each objective. Okay, so let's talk about Pattaya hotels, the great, the ugly. During my 2 months, I made it my goal to stay at as many different hotels as possible, simply to be able to provide you with the latest intel in regards to price value, hotels to avoid, and best areas to stay in. I ended up testing 10 different hotels during that period. My favorite one was the Gazebo Resort Pattaya. You might have seen it in a previous video. 15 USD per night. The only real downside was the very slow Wi-Fi, but you can work around that by getting data for your phone for 500 baht. Okay, Seaside Guest House Soi 3 is another great option, particularly if you don't want to spend much on accommodation. If you have a bigger budget, Siam at Siam is just around the corner. Great place also. Soi 3 is a great location, yeah. I used to go just across the street to Central Marina Food Court, get my salad for $1. Then, once a day I would walk 5 minutes to Terminal 21 Pattaya, have another meal there, chicken and rice for $1.50. One thing to keep in mind if you decide to stay at Soi 3, lots of massage places there. Yeah, sounds nice in theory, but in reality, super annoying. Having to walk past massage girls trying to lure you inside their shop multiple times per day. Oh my God, okay? This is really something you have to consider. Anyway, if you're wondering how to get from Soi 3 to Walking Street, you take a baht bus, 10 baht per trip. Lastly, here are hotels I would avoid at all costs. The only reason I stayed at these hotels that you see here was to be able to show on video why you should not stay there. For the longest time, I've said over and over again, you should never ever save on accommodation when coming to Thailand. Still, I have some guys who follow my YouTube, book the cheapest hotel to save money. And I'm glad I stayed at, the hotels that you see here. This video proof should repel you from being a cheap Charlie when it comes to accommodation. So here are some hotels that I'm not going to recommend to anyone, and I'm not going to ever stay there again. I'm telling you, if you stay at the wrong hotel, particularly a bad one, you will absolutely have a bad experience. You will have a bad experience. And the reviews and pictures on online booking sites can be very, very misleading. I mean, think about it. The hotel has a copy of your passport. Do you really want to publicly post a negative review? After all, you post a review, it shows your country, it shows your name. So it's not too difficult to figure out who posted the review. And that's why I believe the majority of people that have a bad experience do not post a negative review. So the reality is even worse than what you would see. Let's say you see a couple of negative reviews. Usually it's worse than that in my experience. Now imagine spending $500 on flights only to screw up your entire trip by saving an additional $5 or $10 per night on accommodation. It's absolutely not worth the risk.